Hello there, ICS3U folks. Here we go, day 3. This is kind of the start of the rest of the course. This is going to be more regular about feeling about what it's like. We're doing some programming today. This is the note, the lesson, and it says go get the note skeleton from Edmodo. So we got to go to our Edmodo account. I'm logged in, you see. I'm looking at my group here. If I went to my home site, there's my student site, and I click on the group that I'm in, ICS3U. Folders, there's the Unit 1 folder from me, and then the file that we're looking for is data types note, and so I'm going to download that. And you can put it wherever. It would make sense that if you're saving everything on your home directory, to put it on your home directory. But for me, I'm going to pretend that I'm using Google Drive, and just because some people will be doing that, you might be using Dropbox or whatever. So I just dump that on the desktop for now, and now I'm going to go to my Google Drive account and upload it. Upload files, and on my desktop, because I remembered where I put it, there it is. I'm going to upload that one, and it'll take a few seconds. And here I'm going to double click on that. It'll open it. Now I can't edit it in this version, right? I'm just looking at it. This is what it looks like. And I just want to open it with Google Docs. So then I'm going to be able to edit it and take the notes. And this will be different if you're using WordPerfect, or if you're using OpenOffice or something like this. It doesn't really matter, but hopefully you'll figure this out. I wonder if I can zoom and make this a little bit bigger so that we can see better. Yeah, lovely. And so today, the expectations are to understand basic programming structures, including data types. Data types are essentially, the computer has to know what type of information it's dealing with. Is it numbers? Is it letters? Is it symbols? Whatever. And Java and other programs, but Java in particular, needs to be told what type of data to expect. So when you see the keyword int, that's an integer and the range doesn't really matter here, but I want to sort of mention -2 to the exponent 31 all the way to 2 to the exponent 31. I'm going to change the font on this just so it doesn't look like just this is what it looks like when in ready, and we'll see that soon. Memory size is when I make an integer in Java, how much room does it take up? And it's 32 bits. Now what bits are, a bit is a binary digit. It's a basic memory block in the computer. It's a 1 or a 0. And we'll talk more about bits and bytes when we get to the hardware and software business. But if you copy this along, you'll sort of see the relationship. Okay, 32 bits, that's 8 bytes altogether. Well, what's the relationship? 8 bits is 1 byte, right? A little bit of math action there for you. A float is actually what we would consider a decimal number, a real number in math. It's called a float, floating point. But when you see that word float, we just mean a decimal. And it's also 32 bits, or 4 bytes. But usually when we use decimal numbers, we'll call them what are double, which are the same thing. They're still decimal numbers, but they use up more memory, actually double the amount. And why do we use doubles instead of floats? It's because they're more accurate, that's all. Char. Char stands for character, and that's 1 character, and it could be anything. It could be a letter, it could be a number, but we consider it text. 1 text, a digit, symbol, etc. And this is called Unicode, and we'll talk more about Unicode later. But this is kind of how it keeps track of what some symbol is which is something that's called Unicode, And again, we'll talk more about that later. That's not a big whoop for you to remember. How big is a char? It's actually smaller than an integer, 16 bits or 2 bytes, but that's just one character, like 1B or 1-2 or whatever. And we'll see this in use later. Boolean, that's a weird word, Boolean, but a Boolean is just, it's a 1 or a 0. We could think of it as on or off. Like a light switch is either on or it's off. It's a Boolean thing. It's either, yes or no. We think of it sometimes as true or false. And computers are awesome at Boolean stuff. And Boolean variables are only 1 bit, a 0 or a 1. A string, on the other hand, we think of string as like threads or something like that, but what a string is a string of char, a string of characters. This is not what's called primitive. All the other data types that we've talked about so far are primitive data types, like the others. And so that's why it's got a capital, for instance. It's treated a little bit differently. We're not too worried about it yet, but some weird things will come up about strings later on in this unit. And it's 2 bytes per character. Okay, so when we have a string of characters, it makes sense that they're 2 bytes per character. More note to come. I'm going to pause and pick it up in part 2 of the lesson, and we'll talk about in the meantime, you'll want to fire up ready and get ready to type in some of these ints, floats, doubles, and etc. Pick it up in part 2.